Welcome, you guys. Cornerstone Collective, we're glad to have you with us today. I'm Jay, your host, and with me is Gage Lee.
Hey, how's it going?
And Angus McLeod.
Hey.
And so we jumped right into the story as we were kind of already dialoguing before we got rolling. But excited for this intersection of Christ and culture. We're coming to you from Metro Phoenix here on the west side.
West, yeah.
You know it. And so some West Side Desert Rat kids out here doing the thing, but we're excited for that. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Angus. We hosted a conference with a bunch of pastors here called Ready, Set, Grow. It's a way for people to be intentional with their community of faith. And so we had like 21 churches that we hosted this weekend beyond our normal gatherings for our church services. And that was really a cool experience, like seeing a bunch of friends that are across from all parts of Arizona and part of our fellowship of a network of churches. But it was funny because we realized just how much coffee and sandwiches everybody went through. You want to tell us about that story?
It was insane. Yeah, so we had coffee on Friday night, and so we didn't think we have these 60 cup coffee pots, and I think we went through 7 or 8 of them in not even 24 full hours. It was about a day and about 24 hours. But it was wild because right at lunch, Roxy, who was in charge of food and hospitality and that kind of thing, she said, I think we'll just let this last pot, go. And we all went, you've been to a pastor's thing, right? I mean, and she's been a pastor for a long
forever.
time.
Yeah, sure.
But, it was just crazy how many, as soon as somebody from our team would sit down from getting the coffee, somebody would say, hey, we're out of coffee. You have to go and make a whole other pot. Yeah,
that's right.
So how many more did you guys make after what she said would be the last one?
Oh,
like 3.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah,
it was people just like staying hooked up to it, man. It's crazy.
Dude, I don't even gotta wonder why you don't sleep.
Oh yeah. I'm like notorious on caffeine, man. It's so bad. I've actually done a lot better. When I was really young, I just ran. I'm still doing Sundays is more probably the worst been because I'm doing usually an energy drink per service. Sometimes more than that as I get home, coffee or something, because I like write papers and stuff in the middle of a PhD. So it's like run into late nights. But the problem is you can't shut down because you have the caffeine to keep you rocking and to keep you straight. And then you're trying to shut down to get sleep and, to start your day because the morning's coming whether or not you're sleeping, which well because you have a 2 a.m. wake-up time.
Gotta love it.
Which I went to bed last night at 2:30.
Something about early worms and birds.
Yeah, 100. I'm on that nightscape where I'm fighting Dracula and keeping you guys safe at night. So. No, I don't know.
Thank you.
See, then again, speaking from the area of perspective, it's good for the bird, but the worm who gets up early, it's
right.
not
Just slept in, boys.
or do you not want to be sleeping as the worm, right? Do you want to be the early worm skipping the bird? You know what I mean?
True. You gotta get real early for that one.
It's all about perspective.
100% perspective. What I was gonna say is we had a ton of people, so it was a couple hundred folks that were here out of those 21 churches, like teams of people working together, which is great. We had like intentional coaches and all these different things. We're breaking it down. Some really good speakers. Came to lunch and they catered it in. Great spot. I mean, like they did Wildflower, which is nice. Like the sandwiches and soups and stuff. But man, they're like little portions, and people were like rocking 2-3 sandwiches at the beginning of the line.
Can't believe
them. I learned something from my buddy. It's actually my friend MJ. He is a friend of ours from Alexandria in Egypt. He's American and Egyptian. He used to own a Shoney's in Atlanta. And it was the number one Shoney's in all of Atlanta. Like it was wild. He like did really, really well, which it's a buffet, right? Shoney's. So he was telling me all about it, like the metrics of it. Like you have to put your fillers first. So it's like all your bread and all your salad and all your other things and all your vegetables and all those different pieces and all your carbs go first. And then the last thing is you put your proteins because they will burn through your proteins so fast. And if you put proteins up, you'll lose all your money. Right. Because it's how much. But she had put the sandwiches, the people had loaded, put the sandwiches first. So people were just crushing sandwiches. Like, do you have to put tons of salad on your plate first and then like put chips on there and then, like make it so that they barely put a sandwich. Yeah, and they barely put a sandwich. And so people were rocking a bunch of sandwiches. So we came up short. And so Angus, man, shout to you, man. You just like went over there straight fruit ninja / cutting stuff out because there was no pre-made sandwiches anywhere. We had already bought all those out. Yeah. So we had to make a couple, whatever it was, 100 sandwiches real quick.
Yeah, it was very cool. But it was really cool to see the team. I mean, there wasn't this like, it wasn't like somebody pointing fingers at, why don't we have this? It's just, okay, this is where we find ourselves.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Now let's all pitch in. And it was very cool to just see everybody around the island, getting the stuff ready, and everybody was very gracious. But It was very cool. I mean, those kinds of things are fun, you know.
Yeah. And for anybody listening that doesn't know, Angus has been in numerous situations throughout his time here at church where there is a need for food, and he is the solution.
That's 100%
He is the
right.
solution.
That's right. Yeah, actually, even today, like it's just a really cool day for our community. We sign up for life groups. It's like things that we participate in, small groups for a season, and it runs through the winter. And so, in doing this fall season into winter, we just kind of have celebratory things. So Angus is cranking out all the churros.
A few hundred churros today.
It did a couple hundred churros for the people out today, and everybody's pumped on churros, man, because then it smells like churros.
Yeah.
In your in the foyer and all the different areas outside, so they're pumped for that.
Somebody walked into the room today and said, "Man, I wish they made a cologne that was churros."
That'd be dangerous. You have your wife biting you. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, buddy. I'd buy it. I'd buy it. Just
That's so awesome. Today I was on the way in this morning early, before speaking this morning of our services and stuff, and man, I was just jamming out. I come out of like kind of the rock and roll kids / rave kids era. I was a skate kid, surfer kid, and a rave kid, and so I was very, very much into punk rock and into metal, and even the Christian versions of that, having grown up in church, because it's my only way to kind of listen to some of it, though I listened to all of that as well.
Sure.
But we were talking about it, and you have actually a Christian metal playlist. You want to share a little bit about that?
Oh man. So when I transitioned into living a life for the Lord, I didn't know anything other than what we listen to in church, just worship music, right? Straight worship. And so I had for the next year after I had been saved, it was strictly worship gospel music. And before that, I was all over the map, dude, whether it be old country, new deathcore metal, or old school 90s R&B, hip hop, all over the map. So I was diversified in that.
Sure.
My portfolio was diversified when it came to music. But after I was saved, that year afterwards, I just hit gospel worship music so hard,
right,
that I kind of, after that year, I started really man, I need something else. And somebody showed me one band. I couldn't even tell you what it was, but it just started this new exploration for me of okay, so there is Christian music out there that does glorify the Lord, right? And recognize and acknowledge Christ as our Savior.
Yeah.
In ways that aren't just that stereotypical worship gospel churchy music.
Yeah, different style.
That's what I need in my life. Yeah, I gotta get re-diversified. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I started plugging in real heavy to the hip hop stuff. I remember we had talked about it on one of the podcasts, and I couldn't remember the dude's name, but his name hip hop wise is Alex Jean.
Okay.
And dude, I'll throw his individual artist playlist on for anything. Kids out in the pool hanging out, neighbors can hear. Alex Jean's probably on.
Sure.
And then whenever I'm
not worried about lyrics, not worried about message.
Not even a little bit. But they love the beat. They love the rhapsody of it. So when I'm on my way to work, you know what I'm saying, I'll listen to my Bible app and I'll get into the Word for a little while and I'll have my prayer time. And then when it's time to turn that gear on and I'm ready to
kickstart the
heads,
work.
You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to put people in the dirt, I'm about to outwork everybody.
Sure.
I'm listening to my hardcore heavy metal Christian music, right?
That's right.
And it's one of those things where parents would hear it from looking on the outside in, he's talking about murdering neighbors, right? That's what he's talking about. This is what Jeffrey Dahmer listened to.
Sure.
Not even close, dude. Not even close. Pull up the lyrics and people are there's no way. He's talking about all hail the Lamb of God. He is risen. Christ is born. All the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And dude, that's just,
it's the way they're singing it, which it throws people off because they're used to some really gnarly, kind of stuff. But the message is actually really redeeming.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Right. It puts me in that mood of head banging, ready to go do some crazy stuff
For sure.
for the Lord.
Yeah.
You know
for sure.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's interesting because a lot of songs they come out of a lot of old hymns from the church. They actually come out of places that were old bar songs that people knew.
Really?
So those tunes were stuff that existed, and so they actually took those and redeemed those tunes. So some things obviously were written from that start, but it's with that intonation. It was the original idea. So that's always been a normal thing. The thing is, it gets departed from bar culture and the sing song side of bar culture that they were doing, and became a church tune, and then it really kind of took that shape. So anything that kind of departed from that, so people that they're anti drums or guitar or whatever it is, it's dude, that's the thing of our day, and just in their day, they had the
lyres, right?
Yeah,
harps. Dude, I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was chopping it up with a dude shortly after I was saved. I had worked with him. He grew up Baptist.
Yeah.
And he was yeah, dude, we don't let We didn't let drums in my church growing up because drums are.
Some places don't do, and I understand where they're coming from. Like, I honor them, but man, I come out of like hardcore, like out of really loving music and lots of different music.
Yeah,
and so that's one of my things I really enjoy.
I just didn't know. I just didn't know that was a thing. I was so unplugged. Like my wife, whenever we first showed up, she's like, "Hey, Lord's really put it on my heart. I want to start tithing." I had no idea what it was, but I was like, "Yeah, of course, honey. Like, whatever you want to do, we'll figure it out."
Sure.
We come back to church the next week, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I remember I wanted to start tithing. What'd you make this week?" And I was like, "What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything?"
I don't understand this concept. Yeah,
I was totally outside of the realm of understanding with so many of the concepts across the board.
Right.
Of whether it be non-denominational or Baptist, Catholicism, all these different. I was baptized Catholic when I was a baby.
Sure.
Just never practiced, right? So I didn't know any of these things growing up.
Right.
Just that I didn't want a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I was so far removed. There's no need to get into it, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because the message of the music is so important. People don't realize there's really popular artists. I really like their beats, and as an artist, that you're like, wow, they're really creative. They're really good.
Can't do it.
It's sad because some of those same artists, and I won't throw names out, but some of the same artists, like the things they're actually saying in their song is actually incantation out of like the Book of Satan or like other things like this that you're like, there's a reason that what they're reading has power to it.
Yeah.
It's because there's spiritual power to it. And it's because they're actually doing this other stuff that people just think is, that's like lyrically this or this. No, it comes from somewhere. It has a source to it.
Yeah.
And so not everything's like that, obviously. A lot of people are just writing a hook that's catchy and like that's what they come up with.
Sure.
And I heard like Coldplay talking about some of their songs, like, and it was all yellow. Like literally they just saw a book that was yellow and started like filling in the word. And then it started to take shape or meaning. Like that's normal too. But some of these things do have a message, that the message connected to it is actually, like, spiritually speaking, a dark message.
Hell yeah, we don't wrestle against flesh and blood.
Yeah. And whereas the people I've known that have actually been more, they were like Satanist or something like that, actually the things that they worshipped had nothing to do with any kind of like metal or that kind of music at all. It was actually more like classical, like
R&B,
high stuff and things like that. It was very different, the stuff that they used for their, what can we say, like their worship side of things. It was very interesting to hear from. Yeah, really interesting.
Before I became a Christian, and I was dating Annie, I love music too. And I had, just back before the days of streaming music, when you wanted to buy one song, you had to buy a whole CD.
That's right. Yeah.
So like you'd buy one song for $15, $16, whatever it was. And then you just play that on repeat. And maybe you'd start to like another song or two or whatever.
That's
but
funny.
That's good. I just had these big wallets of CDs. And I started dating Annie, and she just, in a real casual way, she goes, "Hey, at some point, I want to issue you a challenge." I was like, "Okay, what's the challenge? Let's go." She goes, "No, not now. I don't think you're ready for it right now." And I'm like, "Okay,
that's even better.
More of a challenge.
That's a great challenge."
And not trying to be manipulative or anything like that, but she just said, "Well, here's the thing." She goes, "I know you love music." She goes, "And I used to really like all kinds of music too." And she said, so I'm going to give you the same challenge my dad gave me when I was in high school. And she said, "I'm going to challenge you to listen to nothing but Christian music for 30 days.
Oh, okay, wow.
And I said, I don't have any Christian music. I mean, and again, it's before YouTube, it's before all of those things. So it's like, if you wanted to listen to it, you either had to listen to the radio.
Okay, love.
And I was, but see, I was like, that's too fluffy. It's not, I mean, it's just, it's too touchy feel. It's too nice, all that stuff. Yeah. And I had never really listened to anything aside from just passing by it, and just that Jesus stuff, it's whatever. And so she goes, "No, I'll loan you my music." Wow. So she had a huge couple of wallets full of Christian music and stuff. And as somebody who loved music, I mean, that's, you're loaning that. In my case, I had well over $1,500 worth of music.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent almost all my disposable income as a kid on that and Legos, And so, when she gave me all that, it was several $100s now worth of music. And she said, "So here's the rules. Whenever you're in charge of the listening, so like you don't have to, when you're in somebody else's car, don't be weird and demand that they switch the station. But when it's your car, when you're the one in control of the selection, you choose it for 30 days. I was like, I can do that.
Sure.
I'll just ride around with my friends for 30
days. Let's do it. It was March. And so I took the month of March.
Wow.
And dude, it made my friends so upset. They're like, "What is this that we're listening to?" I mean, it was all really good, but Sonic Flood and just all kinds of Jars of Clay, just great stuff. Some of it because I liked harder stuff too. And I mean, I liked the Gambit, but so she had all kinds of stuff in there. And so my friends didn't care for it, but I started to really like it. And so when I was in my room, I blasted on my stereo and all that stuff. And while I was doing that, that was when my dad made the comment to my mom. He said, well, if he becomes one of those Jesus freaks, I'm going to kick his.
Yeah, sure.
And so after the 30 days, I had just gotten used to it, and I had enjoyed the music. And the first time I flipped back to, whatever the station was or put in my music, I felt a hollowness. It was so weird. Like I had never felt the spirit of music before. It was such a foreign concept to me. And had you told me 30 days prior that I would have felt that way, I was like, I would have said,
I don't know what you're smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was so weird because it just felt, I mean, it was all the same songs that I loved before, but they were hollow now. And they just didn't have the same, they weren't as full.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's super good.
And so, I mean, today I listen to, I still listen to all stuff, but my main thing is it needs to be positive,
Wow.
And so whether it's Christian or secular, I like lots of different things. And it just kind of depends on what I'm doing. But it was one of those things that it was just huge for me to realize there's such a big difference. And it really changed the way I looked at Christian music and all of that. And so now as a parent, and I mean, music has always pushed the envelope. And so if it's pushed the envelope from where they were pushing the envelope when I was a kid,
right.
Imagine, I mean, all we have to do is look at culture to see how far we've come. It's sometimes a struggle as a parent because all the kids, their friends are listening to all this stuff. And so I don't want to create an environment where the kids feel like they have to hide what they're listening to or any of that. But, one of my girls, she's got music in her. And as soon as anything with a good beat plays, she just can't help herself. Her body just moves and she dances and she sings. And it's awesome to sing. But every once in a while, I'll hear a lyric come out. I'm like, hey, what is that?
Yep.
Who are you singing? Where'd that come from? And then we've just had some very frank conversations. Like, look, I get it. It's a catchy beat. I'll listen to it. Or I would, other than the fact that I know, I mean, it's just like garbage, it's
garbage in, garbage out. Yeah.
Garbage in, garbage out. And so we've worked really hard to try and help them. It's like, look, if you want to listen to some of that, what is the message of the song? What are they saying?
Right.
Is it of value to you? And sometimes it's just the value is just the fact that I get to go off and dance and escape the current, whatever. But that's always, I find that as a parent is really hard. It's trying to get them to make the right choices on their own.
For sure. Yeah, that's right. Well, the message in it is like definitely a big deal.
Yeah.
We were talking about that with the girls too. Same. I mean, obviously our girls are friends, and I was talking with them. I'll listen to all sorts of stuff. So I listen to a lot of Christian stuff, a lot of Christian music, a lot of worship music, other things. I listen to a lot of Christian metal and other stuff. The kids are in the car, they don't really like that stuff. So they don't like that Christian metal or other stuff like that. So I'll play other things, a lot of Christian hip hop, things like that. But we'll listen to other things that are not Christian as well. To your point, more of like a positive message. But even some of those, I'm like, man, this message is not great. If you listen to these lyrics, it's like it's uplifting things that aren't the lifestyle that we're going for. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it's been a challenge. Like I even told them, I was like, hey, this artist, it's super popular. I like it. It's good. But listen to the message that's here. And so we were talking about that dialogue in the three of us, me and my two daughters, just having that conversation about that, because it is a real big difference. It's like how it affects you. I know this. I mean, so like you're talking about getting pumped up on like, using like the style of music to pump you up. And that's definitely true, man. Like we both happened to wrestle in high school, and I was like, dude, you listen to some crazy stuff to get you pumped up for you to go thrash it out on a mat or whatever you're doing, your contact sports, you're doing this, you're doing that, same. Man, you just like get after it. This one guy, his name is Mike. We were wrestling. He was so pumped up, man. I forgot we were listening to some kind of Metallica or some kind of metal or something. And he's just like so pumped up. He head banged the locker and dented the locker with his head.
Wonderful.
And I was like, bro, his head's bleeding. He's like, I'm ready, dog. He had his
just freshly concussed.
100% concussed. I was like, oh man, we're having a problem here, man. He was like
That's great.
space cadet. He's
Sure.
like, I'm ready. I was like, I don't know if you are ready, but I'm afraid for that man on the mat out there. So go ahead, go get him. You know what I mean? It's like,
Dude, well, when I was wrestling, I used to listen to oldies. I used to listen
Really?
to a lot of oldies. Yeah, because like it was,
how old? He's like 70s oldies or
yeah, like
60s?
60s, 60s, 70s
Okay, so
oldies.
you're not talking like doo-wop.
A little bit. It was in there. It was in there. Oh, come on, dude. Like, yeah, all sorts of like lowrider oldies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Definitely heavy with it. And
Yeah.
I think the vast majority of the reason why was because when I first started wrestling, I thought like getting hyped up was for me. Like, oh, I'm just going to get worked up. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to ragdoll people.
Right.
But I would go in there and not pay attention.
Yeah,
right?
so you
Like,
mean
it
more
was all-
technical. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I really had to like slow down to where I could think
Yep.
and be mellow.
Yep.
And go in there and strategically dismantle.
Yeah, do your pieces. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
right.
That's probably smart to do it that way, way different.
To each their own, different strokes for different folks,
Sure.
right? But touching back onto, what we let in the world. One thing that my wife helped me to understand in the beginning was, everything that we do and or everything that we bring in to our home and into our lives and into the lives of our children is opening some kind of door,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what that door opens allows different things to come into our home, right? So like living of the world for such a long time, horror movies were my jam.
Okay, yeah,
I
sure.
loved horror movies. I loved it. Spooky, scary, creepy, ghouly, all this stuff, right? I was about it. When me and my wife first started dating, like, let's watch a scary movie. You know what I mean? We got the house
Sure.
to ourselves. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of dark.
Trying to get that cuddle.
Got
Yeah.
some overcast. I want you to hold me tight, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I don't do that here.
Yeah.
What? Like we can't just watch like like I don't know, like maybe Freddy versus Jason. Or
Yeah,
just
you're
something-
safe. It's
something
fine.
funny, something
Yeah,
funny,
sure,
right?
Sure, yeah.
Like
yeah.
let's just watch something. She's
funny.
like, yeah,
Something
that's how,
funny.
That's how I saw it, right? And she's like, yeah, no, like I won't bring that into my home.
Oh, wow.
So it was a long, drawn out conversation because again, I didn't understand a lot of these concepts.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, you think what you want to think. It doesn't make me feel any type of way.
Right.
Well, I was also still foot into the world.
Sure.
You know, but the more and more that we've had these conversations and I've seen the change, right? Like that year after I got saved, when I just listened to worship music, I tried jumping over and listening to these old songs. I still remembered every word to them.
Yeah, every lyric.
And
sure.
nothing resonated.
Yeah.
Nothing resonated. Nothing made me feel good, fulfilled, right?
Mhm.
It was all kind of like you were saying, like hollow, it was empty.
Mhm.
And it also seemed very shallow, right?
Yeah.
Because I started understanding the difference of value. Like value was different for me when I was living of the world, right? Like the things you had or the people you surrounded yourself with, or like, the dating world, how successful you were there. And then I realized all of it's so shallow,
Right.
Mhm.
so shallow. There was no depth. There was no real, like, life-changing depth to it. Does that
Right.
make any sense?
Yep.
Mhm.
So yeah, 100%. When I changed that way, like we started now looking at, dude, a lot of the shirts I used to have, I've started throwing out clothes. I've started throwing out music. I've started throwing out stuff in the house that doesn't glorify the Lord because it's opening a door to something else. Like we were just talking about, like we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but
Right.
principalities and powers and evils of this
Right.
world,
Yeah, that's
of the
right.
darkness of this world. And
Mhm.
I want the doors that are open in my house to shine a light on my family, right?
Yep.
And it's been a struggle for me in the beginning, especially to be the one to take that initiative or that step of like, we really shouldn't have this in our house.
Mm.
I used to be like, dude, let's just touch on this for a second. Netflix,
Yeah.
dude, there's so many things that come out and like that looks hilarious in the trailer. You
Right.
click on it, sexual content, nudity. Like, nope, not watching that.
Sure.
I used to have an issue with porn.
Yeah.
I used to have an issue with like these lustful ideas and actions too.
Right.
So like this thing that the Lord has delivered me from and given me the power to overcome through my sanctification through Christ.
Yeah.
I'm not opening a door for that to come back into my life
Right.
or for that to be something generational for my kids, right?
Mhm.
Like we rebuke that right now in the name of Jesus, that
Sure.
any of our kids suffer from what we thought was gratifying
Yeah.
in the flesh
Because
for short terms,
doesn't
right?
build that habit in them. They're not seeing you model it in front of them.
Yeah.
All those things.
I think we talked about it last time too, right? Like we're working on generational things
For
to
sure.
the 10th generation,
For sure.
letting the things that we change now affect the way our children, our grandchildren, great-grandchildren see things in the world because the Lord delivering us now and setting us apart.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know, like, forever, we were talking about, I think, the violence and stuff, how that's not really, it's like kind of passe, and we're like, oh, we're concerned about the nudity, but don't really care about, the body count of how many people die.
Give me
Yeah,
war.
it's so crazy, our culture, our American culture. And I was talking a little bit about that, too, with, we're talking, I think we even talked about this maybe about the language stuff and, like, how much cuss words, like, I'm so desensitized, I just don't really think about it. We talked to a lot of people, even as pastors, and they use whatever language. And they, like, there used to be a time, I think, where people were like, oh, I'm sorry, like, because they realize that you're like a pastor. They're like, oh, I shouldn't say that. Like, people just say crazy stuff. And so you kind of like start to get desensitized to it, though I try not to use that language.
Right.
But I remember we were watching a movie, and the movie on itself didn't have any sexuality in it, didn't have any, like, really anything crazy, but it had a lot of cussing. It wasn't like really, really like super bad as far as like on the other stuff, but it's still a lot. And you're just like, oh man, this is actually getting up there. And my kids started doing a count. It was like insane the amount of cuss words they used. 100. I was like, oh man. And you feel really bad because you're like already down this line. Everyone's invested in the movie.
We're 3 episodes deep.
Yeah,
now conviction's hitting us.
100%. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's other times like I have no problem watching something by myself. I'm like, oh, it's fine. I understand it within its context and this is how it works. It's almost like you're watching it from outside, like a documentary way. And it's like, but at the same time, it does have an effect on you.
100.
And so I had to, like, I remember when I was itinerating, I was traveling the whole time before we were doing missions abroad. I just had to lock it in. I told people, I was like, look, I'm going to get back to my room before it gets late. And I'm going to throw on ESPN, and ESPN just stayed on. I didn't change the channel because everything past a certain time, it turns into Skinamax and everything else. And that's
where were you at?
Just traveling and speaking at different places. I was like literally wheels up like every weekend. So it'd be like 20 Western states itinerating. So I was like different cities, different places, making connections, speaking at places, having other meetings. And I'd be there like 2 days, 3 days and just like jump in, jump out. So I was like always, a lot of it was by myself because I go speak for a gig and then that way my family could have some normalcy. Now, not always. Sometimes Celeste would travel with me whenever the kids were really young, but as they got older and got into school and all their systems, it didn't make sense for them to do that. So it made more sense for me to go and do the hard part than for them to be upset in their system and get to live their life. And so that's the kind of decision we made as a family. But man, I just like kept it on ESPN locked in and like that. I didn't let it navigate from that and I was in my room. I wasn't
Temptation
out going
hits
around.
So much harder when you're by yourself, not with your spouse, not with that support group.
100. And so I was just like, listen, I'm going to take out any of that stuff, right? So I'm not doing substance stuff. So I'm not going to doing that. I'm not going to doing these things. You're not going to find me at a bar. You're not going to find me super late out somewhere. And I was a late night person. Like I'm super late night person naturally, but I was like, hey, I was going to change this thing up and make something different happen here. And it was salvation for me, man, during that season because I just made those habits that eliminated the other things. And it was like, I just can't be there, man, because it just opens up all the other old versions of me that I don't need to do.
That's right.
That's how you stay the path.
Right. Tell it.
That's how you stay the path. Is build the habit.
Yeah.
Is stay the path. So.
Amen. Yeah, I think me and my wife were 4 days, I think, man. My memory's always still so hazy, but I think we're 4 days out from 4 years.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Sobriety.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats,
yeah,
Congrats.
crazy stuff. Crazy
That's
stuff.
a big deal.
Yeah, Lord be praised.
Lord be praised. Amen. Hey, I had a crazy thing. It's not as cool as, or in anything as uplifting as what we just talked about, but it is interesting, is that I went to this big mega store, which is newer to Arizona. It's big in the Midwest. It's called Shields. Have you guys been to Shields yet?
I have not.
I have not.
Okay.
Heard stories, but have not.
So we have like Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's here, which are like really big mega outdoor sports stores. We have those in Arizona. We have one really nearby us. So it's like that mixed with like a Dick's Sporting Goods. So like, which is like a 2-story big sports store that would be at a mall. So it's like those two things slammed together, man. So they got like all the sports stuff and all the things. You can buy every size Yeti. You can buy golf clothes and golf clubs and this, that, and the other thing. All sorts of food stuff.
Don't they have like big statues in there too?
They got crazy stuff in there. And then they have all the hunting stuff and all the fishing stuff and knives and guns and you name it. I was like, I can go completely broke in this store, bro. I was like, walk past golf stuff, try not to buy a hat. Then I walk by this other area, try not to buy that. Then I walk by this thing. I was like, I need that Patagonia jacket. No, I don't. Keep going. So I walk by a gun thing. I'm like, I could blow $4,000 right now. I'm like, no,
That's
I can't.
Funny. So it's like the Buc-ee's of outdoor department stores.
It is 100% that, dude. Like
That's
everywhere you turn, you're like, why would I want to spend $4,000 here? Like at every turn, I was like, oh no, this is worse than Costco. It's way, way worse.
Well, I'm on a budget, so I don't think I'll be visiting Shields.
This is probably the right call. Like I went in there and I like literally, I'm like a shoe head. I like sneakers, and I went in there. I had just said no to buying sneakers.
Okay.
At the mall, and like we were like walked in, it had every kind, and I have money, like it's like from my allowance. It's not in our budget for that. It's just like money I can blow and whatever. Yeah. So I have this pigeonholed away, and I'm like having these certain things I'm thinking about doing with it. And I walk in this place, I just having said no to like good sneakers I did want, but I'm like I'm saying no.
I'm a hold.
Yeah, I'm hold. And walk into Shields, dude, and it was like at every turn, I was like, that other decision doesn't even make sense. Let's go right now. Pushing all the chips. It was just like, I was like, I didn't, but I was like, tempted at every turn. I'm like, oh yeah, let's just buy all these things.
Keep me out of there.
I did pick up a few things, but that was because of prior terrible decisions.
TSA.
Like carrying things through TSA and them taking them from me. So I had to buy things that replaced those things. But that's a different story for another day.
That's right. That's right.
Anyway, I thought it was interesting because like a place like Shields, man, it was like so interesting to see the mix of people that were in that place was so interesting. It was like the really interesting people watching because like different things hit different people. So they have a big Ferris wheel in the middle. So like families are there. They're playing different. There's like some
games.
A
Ferris wheel.
There's a Ferris wheel in the middle of the store. So I mean, it's like pretty good size. It's very big 2-story, but like big vaulted 2-story, like big mega thing. Incredible. But it was like, man, all the stuff. It was like all the variations of stuff that's been a hobby in my life. They seemingly had all of it. So
it's like partially a gun store.
Yes.
Partially a hunting store.
Yes.
Sporting goods.
Knives,
camping.
golf. I mean, you name it. All the sports that I like. So they have all the stuff from like the super hyper pickleball stuff to like the basketball, the surfing. I mean, not surfing here because Arizona, but they had like all the water sports stuff. Sure. It was crazy.
Do they have like, does Shields have their own, like if you go to like Bass Pro Shop? Bass Pro Shop has Bass Pro Shop rods.
Yeah, they have their own stuff. I forget I think they have a couple of different brands that are their own that mimic, like maybe like you look at Viore or Nike or whatever. Sure. So that they would have their own. I know like Dick's Sporting Goods has that too. Like a DSG is their brand. So Dick's Sporting Goods.
I didn't even know that.
DSG brand that they put out that's very comparable. It's like lesser priced, but very similar to that. They have something like that too.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. I think I'm so far removed from like retail life.
Yeah.
Budgeting and stuff. Dude, I'm hitting up OfferUp. Secondhand is my main.
Let's
right?
go.
Like all the time, dude.
Go.
I remember I pulled like, I think probably best deal I've ever heard of even. I got the blessing of receiving. Crazy, right? I see this dude, I was looking for like an Apple Watch, right? I wanted an Apple Watch. And so I found this one, good price. I was like, let me just check Homeboy's page, see what else he's got. Brand new in the box mini fridge and a partially used smoker, a Traeger with a brand new auger to come with it.
Let's go.
I was like, let me see what I could get this. Let me see what I can get for this 3-pack, right? This bundle deal. $300 for an Apple Watch, a Traeger, and a brand new in the box mini fridge.
Whose house to come from?
Hold on, chill out. I still have. Well, actually, I gave the Apple Watch to my grandfather so he could track his glucose with it. But like,
that's cool,
dude. All 3 of these still operational.
Wow.
Right, like still running strong. The mini fridge is stacked underneath my new like garage setup that I've just built around pretty much this mini fridge because it holds all my energy drinks and sodas, right? Like the sustenance of life. And then the Traeger dude still runs perfect.
Still running.
That's awesome.
Crazy. $300.
We
always go secondhand.
Oh, dude, we're pro that. I mean, we were big into like the thrifting and all that stuff back in the day, and even like stylistically, we would go get old band shirts and all this other stuff. Like it was just an easy way. Plus, we were
become a whole culture now.
Broke. Yeah, we were broke in the day, so we did it out of necessity. But
sure.
And we got back. We were living in the Middle East. We moved back. We like took our whole savings of what we had and we bought a house. But I also needed cars because we live in Phoenix, so you have to like get around. You can't just take public transport. It's not really a thing out in suburbia. So in doing so, we needed cars. So I needed to like tap that and get cars. And then we have a house with no furniture. So then I went and bought secondhand furniture. I mean, like I tapped every dime I had. Like we used all of it. But I was like trying to haggle these deals on secondhand furniture and stuff. I'm buying couches, man. But when the couches, kids on couches, obviously they're gonna die quicker. And then you introduce like puppy dogs, and then the thing is shredded.
Crazy.
So, unfortunately, Angus is a friend of mine, so he's helped me move so many couches.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, we've talked about that if this whole pastoring thing doesn't work out, we've got a few other business ideas of things we could do. One of them is a moving company.
Yeah, definitely. The moving company thing is, you could definitely do that if you have the willingness and ability to do it, because people just don't have the will to move stuff.
Yeah, or the motivation,
especially
right?
especially when that temperature starts going up.
Oh, dude.
Oh man.
So we've got couches, like even the couches in here. We got donated the couches in this room for the church. The ones that in my house, different ones we've had. It's like super cheap. I mean, couches that are cheap. And so one of our friends just he was even flipping couches for a while. He was buying them cheap, cleaning them off, and then reselling them a little bit higher, making a margin. Shout out to him. Yeah. I thought it was really cool. I like the hustle. I like that he's hustling. I thought it was pretty slick, pretty fun.
I think it's so cool too to see at a young age.
Yeah,
people are still out here hustling, doing their thing. And man, it's encouraging. To constantly see these people who you're because we all talk about it, right? Like generational, cultural.
Oh, yeah.
These kids are falling off. They don't know what hard work is. And then you catch every once in a while, like kids like Josiah. They're like, yeah, let me do this. I need to do this. Do what it takes, right? Do what you got to do.
We were talking with a group of the leaders, pastors and stuff. And these guys they're mostly older than me. So they're mostly in their 50s, some 60s. But, some are in their 40s like me. But we're talking about generationally how even someone in their 30s, mid-30s and 40s, they work completely differently than ones that are younger. We just have that grit and tenacity because it was expected. So it was kind of like, you do this or else you get the pain. Whereas they're doing it more off of the reward system. So instead of the stick, they're going carrot. Yeah. And so it's not the same work drive necessarily, but there is differences to that based on the culture in your home, whether or not that was expected of you to work hard, to jump in, to serve, to do things, and it's expectation, then that's a different thing. Right. So I tell a lot of stories in preaching about my dad, teaching me how to do things by telling me to go do them.
Yeah, 100.
So he would give me basic instructions, but not sit there and micromanage. It was just expected. Yeah, sort of. It was kind of like, hey, this manifold. Remember how you broke your truck in the desert? Yeah, you got to take your manifold off. But it didn't start there. It started with me fixing the one that was on his truck. I didn't break that one. He's like, I need you to come in the Suburban. I need you to go do this and do this thing. I'm like, what? He's like, oh my God, there's video games to be played. It's like,
cool story, bro. This is what you're going to do.
That's right. So now you're on a creeper and now you're under this truck. It is hot. It is Phoenix. You're going to fix it.
Have fun.
So it was, or digging out tree stumps or you name it, man. Sure. We were doing that work. But the indirect thing, and Angus will say this about his dad, is he gave him all this stuff, which you very didn't like, but you get skill set. You can do all the things. 100.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes you, but it's also about building up tolerance too, I think, because if you've got a tolerance to work hard, some people just can't sweat.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they start sweating, they're
done.
I'm done.
Yep.
I need a break. I need some water.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's one of those things that, whether or not sorting rocks gave me, or pulling weeds gave me a huge skill set, it definitely developed my tolerance for that uncomfortable work, which, I mean, that's what our world is built on, so there's got to be some people who are willing to do it.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I think that's the one thing I took away from my dad so much when I was a kid is every morning, rain or shine, physically, emotionally, how he's doing, boots are on, he's out the door.
Yeah, he's a hard worker.
Every day, because he grew up. When I grew up, he was in construction. He's transitioned on now. He has his own business.
Right.
And so proud of him and all the things that he's done. But in the beginning, I remember he used to come home after he'd throw his back out. He would come home looking like Quasimodo,
right? Sure.
Fresh out of Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He'd look like Quasi walking in through the door, boots still on, right? Couldn't do anything. He'd just go into the room, flop over, and he'd be there the rest of the day.
Yep.
Couldn't do anything. So funny. I used to clown him for it. So I'm like, what up, Quasi? First time I threw my back out, first person I called was my dad. I'm so sorry. I didn't know it was this bad.
Well, it has nothing to do with you throwing those big poles over your arm and then climbing up some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, such is life, dog. Like Angus just said, somebody's got to do it.
That's true.
Somebody's got to do it.
It's true. If you have the willingness to get it done. I just saw the guy. It's kind of the realm of what gets fed to me through my algorithms. This is what I click on. But it's like self-help stuff, motivational speakers, like all sorts of different things that you kind of in that world. And I follow a lot of stuff that's international. So I also end up seeing like guys that were previous CIA or Navy SEALs or whatever. I'm in all that stuff too and see a lot of those things. And so one of the things I saw was like, man, a person that works hard consistently will beat a person that sits and thinks about it and strategizes and never does anything.
Nothing to it. But
Even though that person's way smarter, even though their strategy is smarter,
Yeah.
it's like a person that goes and does it. Now, if you can make the smart decision to sit and plan and then go do, is a way different thing. But so many people get caught in the planning stage and never activate. So
yeah, you got to compartmentalize that stuff, right? Like there's times for that, and there's times to just do it. Right? You can't get tripped up in taking the time to plan that you don't. I mean, we were just talking about it before this started, right? Like we're stewarding something, right? And a lot of it is our time and other people's time. So you can't get so caught up in like, yeah, that was a good idea, but how can we make it better?
Right.
Okay, that's a better idea, but how can we make that even better? Right? Like nothing to it but to do it, dog.
Yeah.
Get out there, see how it applies, and then reevaluate at a later date.
That's it, yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
It's and both, not either or. Yeah,
exactly,
for sure.
exactly. Can't get so caught up in the planning that you forget that there's actually something you got to go do.
Yeah, that's it, 100. Hey, one of the things we talk about here is with us is the 7 C's. It's commitment, community, communication, competence, creativity, compassion, and celebration. Today we're talking about this idea of communication. So do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Go ahead, what you got?
I'm situational. I'm a situational introvert or extrovert. It really kind of depends on what I need to be. I tend to lean, which people don't believe this, but I'm more on the introverted side.
Okay.
But not at home. I mean, you're not an introvert at home, right? And so that's why church people, our Cornerstone family are the people I hang out with the most. So outside of my house. So people don't see me as an introvert because, this is my family. And so I'm not introverted around my family. But, when I get into unfamiliar spots, I like to sit off and figure out because I observe. I love to people watch. I also like to push the envelope to some extent. And so what I do is I'll sit off to the back and figure out where the lines are with people before I begin to engage. So I like to not be extroverted. In fact, it's nice to kind of sit back, but I can be if I need to. But I lean more towards the introverted side.
That's interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, that's very good.
What do you think, man?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely think I'm more extroverted than introverted, but
you're like 95%
off. I'm saying I don't like it though. There's a lot of the times where because growing up I had ADHD and would just bounce off the walls. Right, couldn't ever get myself to shut up, and so I was excluded from a lot of things because I just didn't know how to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, you get in trouble. Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, not even just that. Nobody wants to be around the guy who doesn't know how to shut up.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
I lost so many friends like that growing up, and just people didn't want me around. Like had birthday parties, nobody would show up.
Right.
So much of that, right? So I look at my extroverted self and have been attempting to make habits that I can introduce to my lifestyle that helps me to not be as extroverted, but also coming to the realization that the Lord made me the way I am for a reason, and He wants to use that to glorify Him and to build His kingdom.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. So I have to take that in step with not wanting to be that guy that's just, all right, dog, we get it. You can stop talking now, and also still being somebody who glorifies the Lord when I talk.
Yeah.
Right. Because He can use that. He can use anything to glorify Himself and to build His kingdom. So, extroverted, which I'd like to be a little more introverted. We'll work on it. Lord help me.
It's interesting. I'm same as you. Like I'm definitely extrovert, but I find that a lot of my work in life has been where I have to do it by myself. Like it's work that's solo. So like prepping for speaking or getting up and speaking, it's you one person doing it. Traveling and doing itineration. When I did corporate sales, it was on me to go and connect with people that are a client and do the other things. And it was like solo mission. So even though I connected with people through my job, a lot of my time was by myself. And it's so really interesting to see, like, I definitely know that's about me because if I'm feeling down, I need to charge with people. If I'm by myself, I can be more in the emotional side or in the, you get stuck in like a funk or an attitude, a perspective, and to try to change that, it's like you go and charge with people. So remember that was a really hard shift for me whenever I said no to certain habits in my life and started changing my lifestyle because that was what included me with my friend group. And so they stopped inviting me to stuff and I felt like excluded because I essentially got jumped out of the gang by everybody. And you're like, man, what happened? Like I thought we were like people. I thought like we were there. Like I helped you move. You helped me move. All these other things. And then suddenly I was out because I didn't belong because of lifestyle. And so it really changed it up. So really it's been a learning thing. at the same time, I think you can have a people tolerance too. And like, I see that, where you run and you're like, okay, I've had a lot of people. Like, I just need a little bit of time to like recoup here and do something. And that happens too, man. That's a real thing, especially as I've gotten more into ministry, and I'm like over 20 years now, doing this gig. And it's like, man, it's a different deal, but yeah, you can definitely get peopled out. And that's even being like pretty hyper extrovert, you know, where I'm like, hi, how are you? And talk to the wall.
Point where I gotta shut the door on a conversation. Okay, love you later.
Yeah, and I'm trying not to do that and doing things with grace where you exit. The other thing I've been trying to do recently, which I realize about just because of responsibilities, how much that I'm like thinking about the next task, where I'm trying to zero in when I'm talking to somebody, like I'm really trying to talk to you. And though, you know, there's somebody else here that's maybe I'm waiting on a conversation, I'm trying to lock this in and finish this conversation first so I can honor this conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get better at that, because before I'd be like, hey, you know, I'd be like, squirrel. You know what I mean? You're like all over. Yeah. And that's been something I'm trying to be better.
In the time that I've been here, I can see you working on that intentionality.
Okay.
And I want you to know that there are also other people recognizing that and appreciating it.
Yeah.
So
that's kind.
Well done.
That's kind. I appreciate that.
Yeah, let it be an encouragement, dog.
Yeah, I'm trying to work on it, trying to be more in that focus, because there's been so much where obviously I'm responsible for it. So I need to talk to the next person. I need to do this. And sometimes people do choose to have like very deep conversation with me at the wrong time.
Sure.
And so then I have to kind of like shut that or turn it to be like, not that we won't have this conversation, just not right now, right here. Because I got to get up and keep something in my head to be able to talk about for half an hour in front of people or whatever. Tell it. So that's been some of those things that it's like, it's just timing. And I think learning that and navigating that with people has been good. So much of that is just learning about yourself and how you work, and then trying to kind of go from there so you can honor the person truly.
Yeah, I've noticed that about your position as well, to where, you know, you have there's so many moving parts, right? And then you also have people who are very emotional people that can't recognize or respect the fact that you have something to do, so you have to be on track with that,
right? And
can't necessarily give your undivided attention with endless time to give it,
right? Sure.
Right. And a lot of people have been, you know, upset or hurt by that.
Yeah.
You know, which of course unintentionally, you aren't trying to hurt people's feelings.
No,
you don't want people to not feel heard or respected or understood or alone. You don't want people to feel like that,
right?
But also, you have a job.
Yeah.
Right? As much as this may seem like it's natural, this is a job. This is something that you're doing intentionally with a purpose.
Right.
And that requires a time that you can't always divvy up to everybody.
And that's true. And I think it's not that I won't meet with people. I'll meet with people if they want to meet with the time. The problem is they want to come on the day. They're already coming here to have that conversation about something, and it's going to take them a long time. It's their emergency, and so it becomes the thing that they want to make my priority. And it's like, listen, that's not always how it goes. If it is a true emergency, obviously we're going to handle it, and we're going to do it right now. And yes, we will shelf other things to do that. But not everything that a person feels an emergency is an emergency.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we've had to learn that. That's definitely something I've had to navigate in these years of learning things. The Lord help us, because we're trying to honor people and try to care for them. And we do care. We do want to be a difference. We do want to meet people where they're at, and when they're hurting, we want to be with them, and that type of stuff. At the same time, balancing all those things together. So
it's good.
Yeah, I found with that too, because again, if your life is on fire, you want somebody to come and help put it out. And, you know, and so you know who the firemen are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so as soon as you come to somebody with a fire, you go, hey, I need your help.
Yes.
Even though they don't necessarily recognize that you're putting out all these fires, or that you're tending to this thing and the other thing. And there have been a few times where I felt really bad, because, you know, it's like, you know, Jesus, he left the 99 for the one.
Yeah,
that's good.
But I'm not Jesus. You know,
we try real hard.
I still try and figure what is that balance. And there have been times though where I felt like relationally and in people's lives, I've dropped the ball. But what's been so cool about it is in those times, you know, you find out, and it really helps to put you into your place where God goes, remember, it's not about you, it's what I'm doing in this thing. And so there have been times where, you know, I've wanted to be there for people, but because of what's going on already, you couldn't shelf that at that exact moment. And the Lord uses those opportunities to be able to raise other people up. And, you know, and they realize as they're coming to you, they're like, oh, wait, I do have a bucket in my hand.
Yeah, I can also put the fire out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and so the Lord the Lord can do that too. And so sometimes for me, it's really, I have to get better about asking, all right, Lord, is this a fire that I'm supposed to be helping out on? Or is this one that because there have been times where they want to call back right now, but I mean, if I'm in the ceiling,
sure,
and all that, but then by the time you get there, even if it's 20, 30 minutes, whatever, they're like, oh, never mind, I got it worked out, just because we have to kind of troubleshoot it on our own. And there's a lot, I'd say that there's a lot more growth that can happen in that,
100.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
But still wanting to be there for people.
Of course. Yeah, that's
absolutely.
Right. What do you feel is like the best way of communication for you? Like, how do you communicate best with people? Because now we have all these avenues now.
I don't like texting. I don't like texting at all. I mean, people who know me will notice I call.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, yo, dog, text me. I'm like, nah, I'll save it. I'll save it.
Save it for the conversation.
Yeah. I also don't like leaving voicemails.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
I don't know why. I think I just prefer the over the phone or face to face. That's always my favorite.
Yeah.
I don't know if that people say that makes me old school. Dog, I'm not even 30
these days
yet.
Probably, but
I'm not even 30.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just how I prefer.
Yeah.
100% just how I prefer.
That's crazy. Yeah, it makes sense. That makes sense.
I just feel like you get so much more out of it.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, probably face to face. There's so much that gets lost in facial expressions and delivery and stuff if you're not, face to face, but a close second is on the phone.
Yeah.
There's just, there have been so many times that miscommunications and all that happens because you can't see the person's face as they're texting you a sarcastic.
Yeah, they're reading into what you're saying with their emotional set. That necessarily isn't the way you said it. The way you said it was from your emotional set. Totally right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think emojis are a help, but it's not enough of a help. Sometimes, like especially if you don't include them or whatever it is, and like people were like, "Wait, how'd you mean this?"
It needs to be a gift.
Yeah, or honestly, I stopped doing it very much, though I was doing it for a while, quite a bit. I was like text to speak in the truck, and it's like because I redeem my time, I'll like do a lot of phone calls in the car, which phone calls work. But if you don't, you're doing text to speak, like it doesn't always come across right, especially if the punctuation goes in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
So it can really change the focus of what you're trying to accomplish. So yeah, that's a real one for sure. On the communication side, what's the best sermon do you think you've ever heard?
What you got?
I think probably one of the best ones I've heard was Jensen Franklin. We were at the Dream Conference, and the message was about mining diamonds.
Okay. And
so he was talking about this diamond miner, I believe, in Africa, and he spent his whole life, digging for these diamonds, and never found anything. And so he finally gets tired. He gives up, sells the diamond mine, and within months or a year, the next young guy who got it hit just an incredible vein of diamonds. And so the message was, you may be struggling right now, and you may not be seeing the results of everything that you want to see in your life, but keep digging, because you're digging for those diamonds. And it speaks to that perseverance, because if there's so many times that you're like, is this worth it? Shouldn't I just give up now? And am I really making a difference? And then you go, well, maybe it's just 2 more shovels full, or just another couple of days, or whatever it is, and then you may finally hit and find what it is that you've been looking for, that the Lord has for you. But if you give up, you miss out on all of that. That's good. And so that was probably one of the that one sticks out in my mind. That's cool.
That's really good.
I mean, guys.
Yeah, we have a brother in Christ here named Eddie. And he came up actually not too long ago. It was just I think it was a really transformative message for me in the way I viewed things. But he had talked about, at the end of our service, every Sunday, we have a blessing that Pastor Jay and his wife will speak over the congregation. And it's, may the Lord's face shine upon you, and bring you peace. And that's the part of it that he kind of expanded on, was just talking about knowing the Lord's face, right? So actually seeing it and knowing it so it can bring you peace, right? In the same way that talks about in John, I think it's 10:27, where he talks about, my sheep hear me,
know my voice.
They follow my voice, right?
Good shepherd.
Yeah, and so to hear his voice, you have to know what his voice sounds like. You have to grow in that relationship. So when he shines his face on you, when he speaks to you, you know that's him. You know that's his voice, right? And so like I had been half stepping my time in Scripture and like really studying it, and also questioning in my life, like, man, why am I not sure if that's the Lord speaking to me? Because these people will be like, the Lord told me this. I'm like, man, I wish I could tell you what the Lord told me. I wasn't sure if he was telling me I shouldn't have mac and cheese for dinner, or if he was telling me to go talk, right?
Yeah.
So the more he was basically just talking about, the more we read into Scripture, the more we start to understand what his voice sounds like and who he is, his character, his integrity, and then also being able to feel the peace that comes with him shining his face upon you, and to recognize it and acknowledge it and rest in it and find peace.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
We do that prayer every time. It's something we kind of built into what we do, and it becomes a piece of liturgy, to use that term. Like, it's just a piece of something that we do consistently as a way for us to explain and also pray that blessing over the congregation and the collective of the church.
Can I try and hit that before you look?
What's that? Oh yeah, go ahead.
I want to see if I can remember, because it's every Sunday, right?
Yeah.
May the Lord bless you and keep you.
Yep.
May his face shine upon you and bring you peace.
Be gracious to you.
Be gracious to you.
I will lift up his countenance
upon you and bring you peace. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, the thing I don't include in it, because it's not in the prayer but outside of it, is that this is Aaron's blessing as he was set up to be the priesthood within the following of the children of Israel. The very end of it is actually pretty powerful, and it says, "So they will put my name upon the people of Israel, and I will bless them." It's literally putting the name of God over the top of them.
Wow.
And so it's something where it's like, by praying that prayer, you're praying the name of God, which is the power, over them. And so you're literally putting the name of God over them and over their family, and as they walk out, they're walking into the power of God.
That's so special.
So I love that as we align with him. So it's really powerful.
What scripture is that?
It's in Numbers 6. It's so it's in Numbers. Numbers is one of those things that many people skip over because of how crazy that is. But as they set up the things like the priesthood and it's all the details of what's happening. It's Numbers 6, and typically the verses read are from 24 to 26. But it starts out in verse 22. It says, "The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, Thus shall you so bless the people of Israel. You shall say to them," and then says these things. And then it comes at the end, "So they shall put the name of the people, my name upon the people of Israel, and I will bless them." So it's really powerful as far as a piece. And we do that as a way just to speak that blessing over everyone before they go, so they walk out in that blessing of God. So wherever they're at and whatever they're navigating. So love
That's
that.
so good.
Scripture that goes along with communication I like is out of Psalm 78. It says, "He established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a new law in Israel." That means the personhood of Jacob, who becomes the tribes of Israel, but also within the people group of Israel, which he commanded our fathers to teach to their children, and that the next generation might know them, and the children yet unborn, and arise and tell them to their children, and they shall set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. Which is generational from one to the next. And so we talk about that a lot, but I love that because it is talking about communicating it. As we've been saying, it's not just about you, it's about what you set in motion. It's about the generation to come after that. So it's instilling those pieces in our kids, that they understand this navigation is yours personally, so that you can navigate it too. So I really like that. And it's the things they recite. So they're speaking those things over their family. It's the things that they're talking about, and they're sharing the testimony of what God has done on their behalf. So that's what's such a powerful piece of the communication. Sound good?
Yeah.
Love it.
Hey, we're talking about competence, another one of our C's. One of the things we've been looking at is some of the books that have been impactful for us. One of the ones we were using is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And the one we're looking at today is the habit is put first things first. And I like that idea, first things first. So the putting priority on the things that we're doing. Huge deal. One of the things that Covey, we did when I was doing corporate stuff with Black & Decker, I worked for them doing sales for some time. One of the things they put us through was Franklin Covey, which is like a leadership and organization kind of thing. They used to sell planners and stuff like that. That was their system, and it helped people. It was before pre everything digital, pre Google Calendar or Teams or Slack or all that other stuff. So it was a way for you to stay organized and stay up to date. And one of the things that they teach is this idea of the glass vase with the sizes of rocks. Have you seen this talk that they do? So the idea is you have all these big pieces that are like your family and your responsibilities, all this stuff. They're the big rocks. And then you have the next size, which is like all the little fires you have to put out. It's like pebbles. And then another thing is like sand, which is like really immediate, all the stuff that eats you up. And it talks about the order by which you put these in the jar is super important. If you put the sand in first and the gravel in next, you can't get the rocks to fit because the big rocks won't fit in the jar. So if you have to put the big rocks in first as your priority of your focus, then the little gravel will go around the big rocks to the bottom, and the sand will go around the little gravel too, and then everything will fit. But if you do it in the wrong order, the wrong priority, you can't get it to work.
That's an interesting concept.
So I really like it. I probably should bring it back out and talk about it, actually, even in the series. We're doing a series called Build. It's actually something we probably should do about the organization and the reason they did what they did in the order. We're talking about Nehemiah soon, so we could easily tie it to that. But man, what a cool thing. First things first.
That's really good.
I mean, you work with your hands all the time, man. You got to look at the plans and lay it out first before you get in the sky.
Oh, 100. we have the conversation all the time. It tells us not to gossip or to slander, right? But I work in an area where I listen to people do it all the time.
Talking smack.
All the time, right? Like, I don't understand why he did it this way. Like, what an idiot. Like, he should have done it this way. And a lot of the times, it's like, I get it, right? Yeah. Like, different strokes for different folks. 1,000 ways to skin a cat. Everybody would do it different. Right. And a lot of the times, everybody's way that they do it is better than everybody else's.
Of course.
So, there's a lot to that, right? You have to prioritize what you're doing, how you're doing it. And one of the things that I see in my work especially is the organization of things is so essential to the efficiency of which you can operate.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I know where something's at, I don't have to spend 5 minutes to look for it.
Right.
I know where it's at.
As
I
a
can
home.
get it, and I can operate off of that concept, that knowledge of where it is. That comes also from being prepared in knowing what you're going to need in an area, getting those things together, and then putting them in that area. So that way, when you get there, you don't have to go back and forth to get things that you forgot. Take the time, plan it out, count everything, figure out what it's going to take. I tell people all the time, man, like the 2 hours of planning and organizing and transferring of material that I spend at the beginning of something is going to save a day, 10 hours, 12 hours at the end, right? Because that's one trip from A to B with 2 hours of figuring out what I need.
Right.
Versus 15 minutes of just grabbing what I know I need to start. And then now over the course of the next week, going back and forth, taking that 10 minutes every trip to go grab 5 things, 6 things, 10 things, instead of getting everything down and moving it along, right? I think
it goes full circle back on what we were talking before. It's like it's that mix of planning and getting it done.
Yeah.
So you're planning to get it done, but you're not stuck in just plan mode.
Right, 100%, man. Yeah, but you need to take that time.
Yeah, it's good.
That time is so essential to being efficient and productive, right? Because as soon as you're done with that one thing, as soon as I'm done with this one thing,
right,
best believe everything is getting cleared off of that thing, transferred over to the beginning where we re-figure out what it's going to take on the next one,
right,
and then get it all rolling, right? That way, like, dude, I don't got to stop. Get me this. They don't need to ask where it's at because they know where it's at. Right. It's all organized.
Because you build a system. Yeah.
It's all put together, right? And, when you were talking about what do we prioritize and how do we accomplish these things, I think immediately to the scripture of, seek first. Seek first the kingdom and his righteousness. And all these other things will be added to you.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And I think a lot of people will look at it as like the provision of the Lord as far as finances. I think also in anything that you do, whether it be like school or productivity in your workplace, right, or friendships or any of that, when you're seeking first the kingdom, when you're seeking first the Lord and his righteousness in your life, he didn't say this one thing will be added to you, right? Or like this one aspect of your life will be fulfilled. So then everything else
be added to you.
Everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that's so important in finding what I need. like when I'm done, I'm like, all right, I got everything. Lord, do I have everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lord, tell me, am I missing something?
We've done a ton of projects here, man, and we eventually do. We think we have everything. We try to do all that, and eventually we have to run back to Home Depot, get more stuff.
Did that this week.
And it's one of those things we thought we really did sit and try to plan it out, figure out we had. And some of it's because, we're not professionals. So you're a professional doing what you're doing. We're not professionals doing all the stuff we're doing. So we're trying to learn along the way. And
we don't have the truck with all the spare parts and everything.
100%. Yeah, that's. I mean,
travel light.
And to build one of those would be insane. So yeah, it's just trying to get the things there. A dovetail to that, we'll go to Angus with this first. 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's Maxwell. It's his classic. It's something that I encourage people to take a look at if you haven't read it. The law of process says that it's not just in a day; it's daily. So the process by which we put things in play is really what has the longevity of change, because it's doing it every day, not just doing it for a day in a big way. So you go work out and kill yourself versus doing it every day and actually building strength.
Sure.
Wow. What do you think about that, man?
I was actually having a conversation that made me think about this today, as it relates to marriage. At any given point in our congregation, because of its size, marriages are in various stages. They're on the blissful side, or they're on the complete opposite end.
Right.
And when early on in our marriage, I was 100% the problem of all the problems. Like I was the originator of most of the problems in our marriage and our relationship. And when you're in that, you're like, man, why do we fight over everything? And why can't we have a better, why can't we be like them? Why can't we have a better marriage? And the reality is the only way to get there is one day at a time,
right.
And just learning, and anybody who expects to get married and have the perfect marriage straight off the bat. I mean, it may be like that during that honeymoon window, but then reality sets in and, and all of that. And then you have to actually work to get this thing to be what you want it to be. And it's only by process, it's daily. And, I loved, it was such a huge revelation to me when somebody said, God didn't give you your partner to make you happy. He gave you your spouse to make you better.
Yeah.
And so like, if he gave you that person to make you better and you're not willing to allow that on a daily basis, don't expect it when you don't get the results, And so I think that's marriage and then my walk in Christ. Those are the two things that it's like, especially as a young believer, when you want so hard to change the things and you want so hard to be there and you want to hear the Lord say, good job, kid, and then you go and screw up again, but it's daily. It's by process. And so like people look at me now, and when I share my testimony, they go, I actually had a student where he was in a rough place, one of Annie's students actually, and we were talking with him and I was just sharing my testimony. And he goes, no. I said, what do you mean no? He goes, you weren't like that. I said, he was telling me no to my own testimony.
Yeah.
Because he's never seen that portion of me. He's only seen, and I'm not by no means complete or perfect or done yet, but he's seeing this version of me, which is the most cleaned up version I've ever been in my entire life.
Such a departure from before. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That as I'm telling him who I used to be, he shook his head and he said, no, you weren't like that. You couldn't have been. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, ask my wife. She will tell you 100%. There's, but again, the only way I've gotten to this point in my life is by process. It's by every time I've been a knucklehead that the Lord does it, one-on-one with me and him, or he's brought somebody else to say, hey, this is where we need to. And it's that process.
They dovetail so well, the priority and process. If you put the priority to the right things and you make that be your process every day, then you'll really see the results that really matter. To your point, and have that tenacity to stay after it. So I think those are huge, huge pieces of the priority and process.
Yeah.
So, man, it's so awesome. And that ties right into the story that you were telling earlier about just like seeing the change happen through reinforcing those decisions to get to 4 years of sobriety. And it's like, man, it's a departure, not necessarily you're addicted to something, but you're definitely participating in that lifestyle to a place where now you've changed that habit. And it's been a process daily to bring you to a completely different place. because you made a priority difference.
Yeah. I think some of it was easier than others, of course.
Of course.
Right. Like some of it I still had a desire for even after. Right. But like there was other things that I struggled with more beforehand that the Lord completely delivered me from. Like there wasn't a desire for it anymore.
It's great.
There wasn't that need for it. And there was full-blown addiction. Like I needed it to sleep. I needed it to go out and be social. I needed it to have a good time, right? To feel confident and comfortable. Like alcohol was such an issue for me for so long. And, you know, like I wouldn't be able to go to sleep unless I was fairly inebriated, right? I wouldn't be able to go out and talk to people and have a good time, right? I always felt bored or like I needed something else. You know,
an edge of some way, yeah.
Yep. Weed was just like part of it. You know what I mean? I would just smoke because it calmed me down. I didn't talk as much. It made it easier. And then whenever I was delivered from that, alcohol was easy to step away from because like the Lord made it so abundantly clear what it did to me and what it didn't do for me.
Yeah, that's huge.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
and then, so the weed afterwards became something that I struggled with. Like I used to try and tell myself, like, I don't need it. There's nothing good that comes from it. And then there was always the arguments that I used to tell people of why it was okay. That would pop back into my head. Like, well, you know, well, this, and this. And there's the argument with myself. But like all the other things, straight deliverance.
And I understand, like, people, I'm like, from my perspective, I'm not against like somebody having a drink or this or that, the other thing. But the thing is, what I realize is that most people don't have that. They have the let's push it and get wild with it. They don't have it as like have one and enjoy something. It was a different culture to see it around the church in Europe, where they were very much like their heart was after Christ, their full, you know, Spirit of God, and it was a non-issue for them to have a glass of wine with a meal. They weren't going to get buck wild. They weren't getting faded. It was a different thing than the American culture that we encounter here, which is like very few people have one or two. Most people are like, let's push it. You know what I mean? It's always to push it to feel the feel. And so it's not about that or the enjoyment side of things. It's about the other side of it.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that we fight against in our culture in a big way. And I think it really takes a lot of people down. You know, man, we've had so many friends and so many people that we deal with that the very thing that took them down was addiction. Yeah. And it was usually an escapism. It was usually other things. And it just escalated because then, you know, they can only drink for so long without having major ramifications. So they up it and do something else. You know what I mean? Or they can't function being drunk at work, but they can being high, especially if they're like sped up. You know what I mean? So then they start doing other things. And it messes up their whole situation. Yeah. Because then all their priorities shift and then they reinforce it daily. So then you have the priority and process in a negative way. Yep. And it just takes you down the spiral.
100%.
So it's like suction into the depth of despair. Yeah. So crazy. Well, thankful. The Lord be praised that it's not where we're at now. And, you know, everyone listening to, it doesn't have to be where you're at either. So, you know, take heart and be encouraged by our example of people that are knuckleheaded that have started a path in a different direction. So,
that's right. Yeah.
Praise God for that. Hey, a couple rapid fire things and we'll finish up today. Some new things for us to think about. So I'll hit you guys with some questions. If you could have dinner with anyone living or dead, who would it be, Gage?
Can I use Christ?
Sure.
Yeah.
Both having been dead and now living.
Yep. 100%. He's scratching both topics.
Yeah,
he's scratching both.
That's awesome.
Yeah, if I could sit down and have dinner with him.
Of course. And we will. Boom.
That's a fact.
There you go. Boom. There you go. Angus, we think not Jesus. You have to choose somebody else.
Yeah, I figured that would be that would be the case. I think Peter would be somebody really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That's good.
I mean, there's a lot of other historical figures and stuff
Simon
that
Peter?
I think would be really
Okay.
I think would be interesting. But he was such a rough guy, but also just such a vital part. I think it'd be interesting to see, you know, and just kind of talk to him. There's probably next to that, I'd probably Nikola Tesla. I think he'd be cool to talk to as well.
Very good. Yeah.
There's a bunch of historical ones I think I would love to be able to dialogue with. We talk about one today that'd be really interesting. Was Solomon, King Solomon.
Yeah.
Super interesting for a lot of different topics. But I would just be like, you know, where you at with this or that, and it'd just be really interesting to hear what the impartation of what God gave to him and how he navigated those things would be really interesting to say and to have a conversation about for sure. All right. What's your favorite way to unwind after a long day, Angus?
I like to snuggle up with the kids and just put something on and watch, you know, so have dinner and just, as soon as one of them snuggles up next to me, I'm out. So
So napping. You're saying napping?
Basically. Napping in proximity.
Yeah, there you go. That's good. Quality time through napping. That's awesome.
Yeah, love it.
That's good. What do you think, man?
I'm gonna piggyback off of him. Sitting down on the couch with my family, dude, kicking my feet up, enjoying a water or soda, and just not having to do something.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah, it's my favorite way to unwind. It's just sitting on the couch, enjoying company of the family.
Awesome. Yeah, we're in a weird season, so I don't have that necessarily anymore. All my Rugrats are running every different direction, including my wife and I. So I actually unwind better through processes of going and doing something non-related to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I almost have to be busy doing something else in order to unwind. So one of the things I've really enjoyed, though I'm bad at it, I enjoy it a lot, is playing golf. And so it seems very like, hey, Buffy, like very like country clubby. And we didn't grow up like that. It wasn't at all. I was in proximity to it. Like we sold golf balls at the golf course. We'd go and get them out of the pond or out of people's backyards and stuff and wash them off in the ball washer and sell them to golfers. We were out there doing our hustle as a kid. So I was around it, didn't really play it very much, but then recently in the last few years, got into it. And I think it's similar because I couldn't do board sports anymore because I'm ancient and would fall down and die. So I can't really skate necessarily in that way. We don't live here.
Hey, Lord didn't give us a spirit of fear, man. Let's get you out there.
Just for the record, I ran a skate park for years here. I did all sorts. I skated all the way to my 30s, like ramps. Like, we really went after it. So it wasn't like we were trying to be a Sally. Still will snowboard occasionally when I get a chance on the mountain. Still would surf if we get a chance to paddle out. So it's not like I've abandoned those things, but those aren't in proximity to me very much. Scuba, stuff like that. Other thing I like is photography. So I've done a lot of photography, a lot of video. Obviously, a little different. I have teams of guys around me that do most of that now. I used to do that myself here, and so now we have a lot of people to help us do that. But it's something I still really enjoy because I like I think I like the documenting of it. I like the framing of it, the artistry of it, all that stuff. So that's stuff that I really do like to do as far as unplug a daily basis. It's not really a daily, but
of course,
definitely one of those things that if I can get behind something fun, I'll do it. So
yeah, I hear
pretty cool.
I also like to play games as a family.
Yeah, that's right. That's sweet.
Board games?
Yeah.
Man, you'll find me in the pool most every day. At some point in the day, usually at the night. Like I'll jump in. Sometimes it's in the morning, and I'll do like emails in the pool. I'll listen to podcasts and just get stuff done. But I just like chilling out in the pool too. If I had like a hot tub and like a sauna, I'd be jamming that. I treat my pool like a cold plunge. I don't have a heated pool, so I treat it like a cold plunge the rest of the year and just jump in and do the shivers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun. But yeah, man, that's some stuff that we like doing too.
Yeah, we got a hot tub. I just heard the energy bill is outrageous when you kick the hot tub on. So like it just sits on top of our pool as like a
dude, I would pay it. If I had one, I would pay it. I've thought about buying one so many times. Yeah.
Well, once winter time comes around, you know what I mean? We'll probably reevaluate.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Shakes out. I totally understand it though. If you're really trying to watch it, it's like, man, it's a good way to burn money without realizing it.
I'm saying.
So there you go. Okay, what's a skill you've always wanted to learn but haven't yet?
Welding.
Ooh, that's good.
I love to build stuff, and coming from theater and with the stuff that we do around here, I love to build. I love to come up with plans, and I think welding I've always wanted to learn how to weld, just because I think that'd be really cool to be able to fabricate in a whole new way.
That's true. That's awesome.
That's super good.
What do you think?
I don't know. I got no idea. Surfing maybe.
There you go.
Or just like working on motors, right? Having a full understanding of how everything works and the parts that go into it. Yeah,
that's good. I did music when I was young. I was like the church drummer, did a bunch of stuff like that. And so I read music, could play music, played piano, but I got a departure from it kind of like in the end of my the end of my tweens towards getting into being teenage years in high school. So I didn't play piano anymore. And for that reason, I didn't really play much guitar, though I had a guitar and played a little bit. I never got proficient. So that's one of the things I really wish I would have invested the time. It wasn't that I didn't have opportunity. It was even proximity to people who played. But I think it's one of those things I really wish I would have stayed with, was both playing keyboard and playing guitar. So that's something that I think that it's like a skill set. Had a chance to learn to weld, also would be great to really get to be a good welder. Yeah, proficiency and stuff like that. So that would be awesome. Those are great skills. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Man, I don't know. Talkative, caring, hardworking.
I like those.
Yeah.
I think those do.
Is hardworking, can that be counted as one word?
Hyphenated,
Yeah.
baby. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I'm for you.
Shouts out to hyphens.
I'm for you, not against you.
Yeah.
Shouts out to hyphens. Yeah.
Shout out hyphen. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, man? 3 words is hard.
I'd say a servant.
Okay.
Fun
Yeah.
/ funny. I'd like to think of myself as funny. My kids don't
You are
necessarily.
fun and funny.
I'll second.
Both,
I'll second
both of
that.
those.
Appreciate it. I was fishing. That's what
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I saw the line.
Yeah.
I bet.
He's going for it. Oh, you are actually.
I'd like to think of myself as laid back, but depends on who you ask.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see it, dude. Every time I see you, you got running shoes on for
That
a
is
reason.
kind of true. You are actually
for
pretty.
a
I mean, you're
reason.
running. You're like more chilled in the running of running, but you running.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
don't get me wrong.
Well, and
like,
that's what I mean. Is like it just laid in the chaos.
Yeah.
In the middle of that
Your
hurricane,
posture.
you still see you
Yeah.
just sitting in the
yeah.
in the recliner.
I've never
Yeah.
seen him
Yeah.
laid back. I've never seen him lay down ever.
Yeah.
He's always running.
He's asleep and using a child as a pillow, apparently, at some point,
Right,
based
right.
off our previous
There's
conversation.
somewhere in there he's
That's
sleeping.
funny. I would probably go with, I think, wanting stuff like adventurer, going for the adventure, going after somewhere new,
Sure.
or / traveler maybe. Communicator, because it's something that I do professionally. Man, third one would be interesting. I don't know, man.
That's your last one.
I know.
Choose
It's
wisely.
I know. It's like, what do you say there? I think it'd be maybe traveler. I think it's maybe more with adventure too, but I think there's something about that. The pieces of those things that I really identify with. I think it was hard whenever I moved back from the States. There's something special about being an expat because you're not from a place, so it makes you special. So when you move back to where you're from, you're just another person. And that's a really interesting distinction that, I had a lot of identity, I think, wrapped up in that. Just like I did, there was a season where I wasn't pastoring for a year in between pastoring here and pastoring in France and then pastoring in Egypt. I was doing training for a year, doing different things. I was speaking at places, but I didn't have a pastorate where I was called by that title. I didn't realize how much I wrapped up into the identity of that.
Yeah.
Similar to being like an expat or like a foreigner. And then you move back to where you're from and you're like, yeah, nobody cares about your story about when you were gone.
Sure.
Yeah,
This is really interesting that way. So I think like a traveler, adventurer / communicator. I think that's probably where I'm at.
That's good. All right, I want to try something.
Sure.
Use one more word to describe Angus.
Ooh. Let's see. I would say thinker. I think Angus comes with some deep thoughts that are really good. We dialogue about a lot of different stuff in really weird places. So we'll be like in the middle of a project somewhere and go deep cuts, sometimes brought on by really funny cultural things that we have in common that we like.
Okay.
Other times not, just about stuff we've been reading or our quiet time with the Lord. So I think that's probably accurate. I think
So is it like
thinker.
intellect? Like
I
an
think
intellectual?
intellectual side, but I think just in the deep thinker, like he's really ruminating, really taking the deep thought process on this, like thinking about it. So
That's good. That's
as much as I would be like, I want to be an intellectual, like,
Right,
those are the
right,
words
right,
you
right,
want to
sure,
use on
sure.
yourself. You're like, I think seeing myself as
a
brilliant.
pipe with some Cavendish and stuff. Yeah.
Got an ascot,
There
for
you go.
some reason.
For some reason.
Dude, you live in Phoenix.
Arizona, yeah.
It's
Come
like,
on,
what are
come
you
on.
doing?
Yeah.
All right,
I
one word for
receive
me.
it. One word for you. Fun.
All
That's
right.
it.
That's true. You have
Yeah.
very good energy, man.
I like
that.
Like, really positive.
Yeah, you're just fun.
Thank you.
You're kind of the guy that you just. I mean, ever since you've started coming here, you're just kind of the guy that people want to hang out with. I want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Just
Let's do it, dog. Let's go smoke some meats.
Yeah,
Smokes meats,
Come on,
baby.
dog.
I did not hear that. Right?
Oh, chill out. Chill out, dog. Chill out.
Oh, I thought we had talked about that already.
All right, moving on.
But no, you're just
Sheesh.
because I mean you're very fun. You just kind of okay. Let's go. I don't know where we're going, but we're gonna have fun when we get there. You
Yeah,
know?
There you go.
that's
There you
good.
go. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think for you, Jay, I would have to say the other word to describe you is committed.
Okay. That's
Committed.
kind.
You're very committed.
That's very kind.
So many different moving parts in your life, dude. But like all of them get the attention they deserve.
We're trying to stay hooked up to
From
it
the
for
outside,
sure.
from the outside looking in, right?
Yeah.
I get the opportunity and the blessing of seeing you and knowing you on a little bit more personal level than
Right.
a lot of people. So
Right.
I see that commitment across the board, and it's super encouraging, man.
I
So,
appreciate you,
committed.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
That's I think it's really kind to see yourself through not only just your own words, but how other people see you.
I think
really
that that was
that's
the
a cool
right
add-on.
Yeah,
I like that. That's awesome. All right, we'll do a couple more here, and then we'll jump, kind of running a little bit longer than normal. What is your go-to productivity hack? What do you think? Do you have a productivity hack? Get you going, get you organized.
I'd have to think for a minute.
I think we kind of did that on the last one. For a productivity hack, and I'd said that the mindset of there's nothing to it but to do it.
Okay, interesting.
Right, like not spending the time like we had talked about in the very beginning,
Sure.
and throughout of like not
like getting stalled out.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. You can't pump the brakes too long. Sometimes you gotta get on the gas and just run it.
Yeah, no, I feel that. Okay, what do you think, man?
Yeah, for me, I think it's just popping in some good music and rocking with it. That just it helps to just focus my mind in different areas.
Yeah.
Because like I think about a lot of things, sometimes more than I should. I'm like, what is it about this water bottle that makes it hold?
Yeah.
And so sometimes that music will shut off that or turn, give focus to my internal monologue and
kind of like blinders.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Because otherwise I get too distracted. Kind of like that dad and Malcolm in the Middle when he goes to replace the light, and when he goes to the light in the cabinet, the door is squeaky, and so he goes to get the WD-40, and he finds a link under the sink. And then his wife comes home, and he's underneath the hood of the car, and she's like, "Well, I told you to do this." He goes, "What does it look like I'm doing?" And that's kind of me, and so music kind of helps me to stay focused on one task. Yeah,
I hear it.
I like that. I would say some similar. I run podcasts a lot, and I think by doing something else, it helps me be able to do something with my hands physically, where I don't get wrapped up in the like letting your mind run away or whatever. Like you're staying kind of hooked up to it and kind of staying something. So that's with me too. I think that's right.
Yeah, I think you were talking about how often you're burning through earbuds.
Oh yeah,
the batteries are always burning out.
Kill them out. Yeah, I'll like just run one because I'll switch them out and then I'll have to like flip to different headphones. Yeah, I would definitely do. I'm sorry if we redone these. I don't think the next one is if you weren't in your current career, what would you be doing?
What do you got?
Well, because of the skill sets I've gained here, I could be a plumbing assistant. No, I don't know. I think I'd work in some sort of a therapy, like physical therapy space. I love because I was a massage therapist for a number of years, and so and the more I've done it. As a Christian, as a believer, the Lord just ministers to me through biology, and just the way He put us together. And it's, as I understand concepts here, because He built all of that into us. And so we don't have to look any further than what's in our own body to understand the kingdom of God and so much of that.
Man.
And so I love that because there's so many principles tied to it that it you can minister to people as a result of that, but also, again, bringing relief to people in physical pain, things like that. I really thrive on that. I like doing that.
Yeah, you good at that too. Skill set.
Yeah, right there. We just talked about today in service, Ephesians 2:22, right? And in Him, you two are being built together to become a dwelling in which God lives by His Spirit.
Yeah.
That touches to that directly. That's so awesome. I love that.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And you've actually used that because obviously you did that as a job previously to doing this in one of your past lives of work.
Yeah.
But been a blessing to be able to use that even in context here with friends and different ones that are tied in that know you have that skill set. So it's really cool, man.
Yeah, I love it. I don't know what I would be doing.
I think you'd be doing what we're doing.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know, man, because I respect the concept of it just because I think more than anything, I wouldn't look at my next career choice if I were to make a next career choice. I wouldn't be doing it out of respect to how I feel or like how it would benefit me other than benefiting me by being able to be more present for my family to benefit them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Right, like the career path I've chosen right now, we've talked about it. I work a lot of hours. I'm pretty plugged in constantly, and I can't be home. So if I could have anything out of having a new career, it would be having more time to pour into my family and to be present and enjoy them. you know, and I know it's so fundamental for the development of the family, for them to be able to be around the father, right, and to see how he lives his life, and allowing him to structure the home in a lot of ways. But in order for that to happen, the father has to be there.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like the father, our heavenly father, can change our lives if we give him that space in our life, right? Like if we fill our lives with his presence, with his word, he can then fundamentally change things. The same way I would like to be able to be home to fundamentally pour into my kids and help them grow in that way. Yeah. So that would be, I don't know, whatever career allows me that. Yeah. Work from home podcaster? Come on, dude. What?
I will say, though, the hard part with anything like that is that in order to do this, you have to have it quiet and you have to have away from, you know what I mean? Like there's the other side of it too.
Ain't none of that in my house.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that, you know, even what we're doing, it's like we've realized we've started to really make margin, even in our conversation about how we work or hours we work, because we work a ton of hours too. It's just different. And so it's like, hey, how are we going to work this so that we can have that flex time to be able to be, like you're saying, present with them? Yeah. So it's huge. I think for me, I'd probably do something, you know, originally my whole trajectory was being towards law. I probably would head something towards that, or maybe in media. My responsibility here is overseeing a daycare, overseeing a church, overseeing a community center. So having my own business or maybe doing a variation of all of those things makes sense to me. That's cool. And so I think it's probably where I'd be. I think my trajectory now is to be a professor for the future, to add that on to what I'm doing. So not to depart from what I'm doing, but add it to. So that's probably another piece of what I would do.
Yeah, because you're not already busy enough. You know what I mean?
Come on, man. We after it. Staying connected to it.
I see it, dog.
Staying connected to it.
I love it.
All right. What's one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
What you got? You got something? I'm in the same boat, dog.
I'll jump in. I think for the most part, now it's not like secret or anything, but I have so many people, because I preach and teach in a jacket or a long sleeve, they don't know that I have a bunch of tattoos for the most part. Yeah. So I think some people are shocked to see that. Now we've rolled it out in the last year where, like, one of the intro videos I have, I'm just in a short sleeve shirt. So they see that if they're paying attention.
Move, Cotton.
Yeah. Strong move, Cotton is bold there. That's right. Yeah. That's 100%. Whether or not, like, that's something they're paying attention, but I've had so many people that, like, have been here for years. They're like, when did you get tattoos? I was like, I don't know, when I was 20. You know what I mean? Sure. And they're like, oh, like, you know, they just didn't never know. So they didn't have they never put that on me as whatever their prejudice towards that was. Sure. So I think that's probably one that some people don't know.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I've talked about it in sermons and stuff like that, is that I used to be an incredibly angry person. Yeah. You know, because I'm pretty happy. It takes a lot to kind of ruffle my feathers for the most part. And even when they are ruffled, I try to, to still be gracious and all that. But yeah, that was, and I think it was because I didn't acknowledge myself that I was an angry person. And even as a kid, I didn't realize I was such an angry kid, but I go back and look at some of the photos of me and I'm like, man, I was an angry kid.
Why did I look like Scottish that? Fire. He's like,
yeah.
Just growling at people.
Yeah. But also with that the Lord has ministered, that's not, I mean, now it's more of a righteous anger that rises up when it really does.
Wow. That's interesting.
And so it's just a change in the type of anger, I guess, or, just reasons the things you get angry about. Yeah. And what to and what not to get angry about.
Yeah, I'm trying to think right now. I don't think that I've ever seen you angry. Well, and if I have, you've held it very well. I'm sure.
I work here.
I'm sure. I'm sure there's been times where you're angry at him.
Yeah, that's probably true too. Very true.
I don't really think so.
That's funny. No. That's funny.
Well, the Lord be praised.
Amen.
Amen. Awesome. But that is true. I mean, like you don't. I mean, everyone would say that about you, that they don't find you as an angry person on the face of it. You do have a calmness and a peace about you and a fun about you that's light. It's good. It's elevated.
Yeah, amen.
So it's a good
amen. I don't think anybody from the congregation would ever be like, Angus really strikes me as an angry person.
Oh, yeah, man. They might not
angry
say that
Angus.
about me.
Yeah, I've never heard that.
They might not say that about me, but they definitely would say about you. They're like, him? Yeah, I get to see it for sure.
No, see, and that's something too. There have been many times working with Pastor Jay that situations have arisen that I'm like, wow, he's weathering that very well. I don't know that I could do that.
I'm over there rats-a-fratzing on the side, which is like you're not trying to cuss, but you're cussing. Yeah,
but I mean, there's an art to being angry with grace, and just being able to still
help us
to be angry and do not sin, and I think that's That's one thing, because again, the response, I have responsibilities, but even my responsibilities fall underneath his responsibilities, you know, and fall, you know, he's responsible for my responsibilities. And so, in seeing some of those things when stuff doesn't go how it was supposed to and all that, just you know, we all know that things are less than ideal. However, it's how you weather it and how you present. And so you do a great job at that too.
Yeah, it's very kind.
Amen.
Very kind. What do you think, man?
Something about me that people don't know. I would just like keep it light and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm winging it in everything, right? Like,
I don't think that's accurate, but I know what you mean.
But there is some truth to it, right? Like,
I think honestly, around here, if they didn't know you, I mean, I think they probably could maybe think that about you just because you have size and like the way you carry yourself. But I don't think that they would think of you as like someone who just like throw people down and just like fisticuffs. I think that.
Well, I mean,
because I mean, I'm serious. I think because you come across in a different way. And embracing to people, I feel like they wouldn't naturally think like this is a guy who would pick fights. I don't think they'd think that about you.
I was kind of surprised hearing about it today myself.
There you go. See?
Well, you know what? Lord be praised in that regard, right? Like I am dead to my old life, and I'm alive in Christ. Praise the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I don't even. There's no part of me that has to deal with that side of old Gage anymore. I had a situation just a couple days ago. And by the grace of God, an electrician didn't get strangled in our laydown. You know what I mean? And, you know, as I'm walking up, there's these, and I think that's what I want to talk about is if there was one thing I would tell people about myself that I think they don't know is that I, like everybody else, struggle every day to carry my cross.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else, I struggle to carry my cross, right? Just touching back to it, this electrician was in our tent, which everybody has their own tents. He's in our tent, whatever. He's got his buggy parked in our tent, whatever. I'm driving my forklift in. He didn't like the way I was driving my forklift. He said I was aggressive. I didn't think I was, but neither here nor there. I park it, I hop out, and he starts throwing up his hands, cussing, and I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. And he did it again, threw his hands up and cussed. I was like, we're just going to handle this face to face. So I started walking towards him. And I see him like pick up his chest and start walking towards me. Mind you, he's like probably 5'6", 130 pounds, soaking wet, right? And so I'm like, but that millisecond from Gage to walking it out like Christ was like, does he understand who he's walking like this towards?
Yeah, sure.
And like I imagine just grabbing him by the throat and lifting him up, right? And then
old school,
right? And then the Lord's like, I'm sorry, is that who you want to be? So I go over there and I'm talking to him and he's like, oh, well, you this. I was like, look, man, I understand. Did it scare you? Yeah, well, that sucks, man. Like, how do we move forward from this? Like, he's like, well, you came in here all mad. Like, well, honestly, man, I'm really not mad. All this stuff that's in my way that you think I'm mad about, I know you're going to move it. Like, as soon as this conversation's done, you're going to get in your stuff and you're going to move. So I'm not upset about it. There's nothing to be upset about.
Yeah.
It's like, but what you do have to do is you have to watch your tone.
Yeah.
Like that's going to change the direction of a lot of the conversations that you have with my guys out here who may not even be wouldn't have a conversation with you right now.
Yeah. Or
it'd
not.
It'd be going a totally different direction.
That's right.
So just understand you got to check your tone whenever you come and talk to another grown man. But from there, like, we're cool, man. I got no problems. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you don't want angry D'Artagnan over here coming in.
No, D'Artagnan.
Three Musketeers.
I'm saying, Doug. I'm saying.
Well, just for reference, if you're listening to this, I was talking with Gage earlier about how dapper his mustache / flavor saver combo looks. With his grown out hair, he looks like D'Artagnan, like he's one of the Three Musketeers. I almost say Three Amigos. I meant Three Musketeers. So
yeah, and for reference, why it's so much of a topic is just last week I had a full blown brush beard going on.
Yeah, huge beard.
And now it's gone. These points on the ends of the mustache would cut anything. It would cut tungsten. You know what I'm saying?
Our friend Travis, who also happenstantly went from a massive beard situation to like a sharp mustache, which he had a bigger mustache.
It's a beautiful mustache,
and he had it trimmed down to sharp. And I was like, "Man, you guys look like the Musketeers over here." He starts busting up because he's got like a rock mullet going, and he's like flipping it backwards. I'm cracking up over here.
Love it, man. It comes with the territory. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think it's something that people don't know is that I struggle just like everybody else, right? Like there's times where I struggle with all things, right? Like lust, greed, finding satisfaction from the things in the world, right?
Yeah,
like struggle with not being a part of certain conversations or the way people, and this, I don't really think I struggle with not living the way other people live. I find comfort in not living that way, but also seeing it and going, that kind of sounds fun. Or in some regards, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it disgusts me, but in some things you're like, man, I wouldn't mind going out and spending all this money doing this or that. Right. But I struggle in all those things and carrying my cross every day. Right. And not cussing. Yeah. Right. Whenever I get around people who are cussing all day, it's what I live around. Yeah. I spend more time at work than I do at home. And that's how those people at work talk all the time. I struggle, man, just like anybody else.
It's true.
But take comfort. The Lord is my salvation and my fortress. He is the wings that give me shade.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He is the foundation on which I've been fortunate enough to build my life on. Yeah. So thank you, Lord.
Ever-present help in time of need.
Amen. To that. What a God we serve.
It's so funny. You're talking about like not wanting to cuss and stuff. The other day, I don't know why, but I was messing. It was just Celeste and I were just sitting there talking to my wife, and both her and I, when we were young, before we were married, really before we were connected to each other, we're both very sarcastic. Like we were just very sarcastic people, kind of sharp-tongued and just like chopping on people.
No, not you.
Right. You can believe it about me. You don't believe it about Celeste. Those are the people that don't believe about Celeste. Like she used to be like sarcastic. 100. And she worked really hard to knock that out of herself. And I also really try to work hard on it. I don't know what, I was just in a funny, ridiculous mood, but I was like just to her, was just saying the most ridiculous, sarcastic comments, to her, but about other things. And she was like, you got to stop. Because I was just leading hard into it. Which my brother, Jeremy, he's very, very funny. He's very smart. He's an MBA. He's really good at what he does. But naturally is one of the funniest, sarcastic people I've ever met in my life. And I mean, that's obviously just my brother, but he's hilarious. Angus grew up with him. You could tell you.
Oh, he's so funny.
He's very funny. And he the way he can pick things apart, how sarcastic, like his comments are hilarious. And he really pulls it back because he's also changed a lot too. But man, when we were young, man, it was just watch out, brother. Like it's coming, you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's kind of the culture a little bit out of here, kind of like Phoenix, Southern Cal, kind of Vegas. There's kind of that where you tease people, kind of a lot of sarcasm.
Shows love, I think, in a lot.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like you're inside, we can make fun of you, whatever. But it kind of definitely goes past that. Yeah. Like people are definitely like heavy.
If it doesn't, you don't love them enough.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You got to get some thick skin. We went to school, and these guys out in the Pacific Northwest, it's not their culture at all. So like friends of mine who were like into being really close friends, they thought they were gonna fight everybody because we were like all just like clowning people, and everybody's pretty quick with it. So it's like it feels like everyone's getting piled onto, and they were like, man, they're blah blah blah. I'm like, dude, that they like you. They think you're great, or else they wouldn't tease you, or they would say something like and really want to step.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I was like, dude, no, it's cool. Trust me. Yeah. And I was like, watch. And I would walk in and just dialogue with them and just amp it up. And I was like, that's cool. It's like, oh, man, you're stepping on your dress when you're doing that. It's a problem. Yeah. And then they were like, oh, okay. And then they noted the doors open. And then they saw it and they're like, okay, we're cool here. But moving into pastoral ministry, you can't be that guy.
I'm sure.
You can't be the guy that leans into sarcasm all the time and leans that way. You will cut people down and it will not go your way.
Right.
And it ends up being something where you are inadvertently positioning yourself in a place of authority where you're kind of cutting against them. And a lot of people are sensitive about that stuff, especially as they're coming to someone they're looking for solace, or to your point, firefighting, like putting out the fire in their life, spiritually speaking. It's one of these things where it's like, you can't have both.
It's hard.
You can either be the help, be sarcastic and funny, but you necessarily can't be both in the same moment.
Sure.
We might throw like a one-off and like, within things like play fantasy football with some guys in the church. Yeah, we just talk mad smack, but it's very poignant about specific things. And it's not about the person, them, their family, whatever. Yeah. So it's about their love for terrible teams like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I know a couple people like that.
There are people in here that do not like that stuff.
I'm
a Cardinals fan. We're also terrible, so it's okay.
Man, I don't have a team. I don't even watch football, so it's great for me. I was just doing it today.
You're like anti-sports guy.
I'm not even anti. I got better things to do with my time, right? I have very little of it, so I'd rather spend it doing other stuff.
That was my dad. Is never a sports guy. He was young, and then he like said the same. He's like, I don't have time for all this noise.
But I love picking on people.
Huge outdoor guy. He'll watch like hunting videos and fish and stuff. He's a huge guy at that. Bull riding and stuff, all that stuff. But like sports teams and stuff, doesn't give a rip at all.
Yeah. See, I the only reason I think I like football is because I get to make fun of people for having teams, right? Like everybody gets so gung ho about their team.
Of course.
Just today, right? Like we're sitting in the cafe, and mind you, preface, I don't care. I don't care about any team.
Right,
I don't prefer or not. one dude was like, yeah, why were you walking in with a Niners jersey and your wife was walking in with a Cardinals jersey?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, doesn't it say it's better to live on the corner of a roof than to live in a house with a Cardinals fan? Like, is it? And of course, your wife Celeste was
Sure.
like, "Oh, here's the book of Gage."
Here we go. Yeah.
Right? And like, I don't care. And then they're like, "Oh,
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, "Well, at least we can all rally behind the concept that we hate the Cowboys, right? Like we can all come together and kumbaya with
Both
that."
Andrew and Ariel are in alignment with you suddenly, even though you're just clowning their jerseys.
That's it.
Oh my gosh,
That's it,
hilarious.
man. Yeah, I don't give a rip about football,
No.
but
It's so funny 'cause it's so important to like
I love the
American
food.
culture. Yeah,
I love the tailgating
crazy.
concept.
Yeah.
Get together, eat some good food, and rally behind a team. I get it.
That's where I'm at. Yeah.
It's true. Like, I'm the only one that really cares about sports in our office, which is hilarious because it's like I'm the one that really cares about coffee, only one that really cares about sports, only one that really like. It's a bunch of those things where I'm like, I mean, other people like this stuff, right? It's like nobody who works with me cares at all about that stuff.
Dude, I think it's so crazy, the testament of the decisions that you make and the things that you surround your life with are the same things that your children are going to surround their lives with.
Yeah,
So it's so interesting to watch before this podcast. Javen, shouts out Javen, our producer. He was sitting down watching a soccer game while we're kind of eating. He's like, yes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then Jay starts talking about these different teams and these different soccer players. And it's like, man, like it's so crazy to watch how that love that you had for something has now rubbed off on your son, who now finds comfort and joy in these certain things.
Right.
So like it makes me like even in that moment, I was thinking like, man, the things that I bring around my family are going to be the things that my kids find. That's why when we were talking earlier, opening doors, got to be careful what doors you're opening because they do bring things in that stick around.
That's a great point. Yeah, to that end, it's been fun, and I'll say it has been. It's like anything else. Like you guys have different things. You make bridges with other people.
Sure.
Internationally, that's a real easy commonality with guys was to talk sports or I like art. I like photography. I like travel and stuff like that. So those things, man, you can hit someone on things like that because it's so vast. And because I did a lot of sports and I did a lot of extreme sports, it's like you'd find those people that was, and then man, you had a commonality with them. Yeah. Now your relationship usually was built away from those things. It was into what your experience with your family and your faith and the other things like that. But it started with something as silly as a sport. And we know sport doesn't have eternal value in that take.
Right.
But
it still builds community.
Yeah, there's a community in it for
yeah.
sure. So I think that there's value for that reason, and it is fun. It's one of those things that we've enjoyed. Like definitely my son and I. I've tried to get my girls into it, even recruit them to things I like. They're not so keen on it.
Sure.
Tried skateboarding in the past. Tried golf. We tried different things. They're not with me, but it's okay. We're gonna find something.
J-Bo's a smooth golfer.
Yeah.
Smooth soccer player.
Yep.
He's an intellectual like his father. You know what I mean? Wearing the what?
The ascot.
Wearing the ascot in their study.
Yeah, the study. Yeah, someday with the study, exactly. No, I think that stuff's fun, man, and it is really things that it's like it's just you hit on it, and I think we can kind of end on that, but seek first the kingdom of God and all these other things will be added to you. Amen. It's like I've got a chance to go do all these cool things that if you were a radical sports fan, you might do a few of them. But I've been able to do all these bucket list moments by being obedient to God because I was in the right place at the right time. So we've been able to go to like,
Lord be praised.
Yeah, places, go to Olympics, go to the World Cup, go to like Super Bowl, go to like, World Series games, like all these different things that are major bucket list things for hyper sports people, which I like sports, but I'm not living for that. It's just been added to it. Does that make sense? So I'm living for God in this one way, but these other experiences have been added to, which we're blessed for that. So it's been cool.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, Lord, we praise you guys stay with us. We're so thankful to join back with us this next time as we continue the conversation. We're thankful for you and being a part of the collective. Much love to you wherever you are.